Hey guys, it's me Carol. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, or welcome if you're new here. Today, I'm going to be reading like another celebrity. I have a series here on my channel, if you didn't know, where I read celebrities' favorite books, and I have always a great time doing it. And today's celebrity, I absolutely love. I love her so much, and I can't wait to read her favorite books. Love it. Okay, so the celebrity we're going to be reading like today is Danielle. I don't know how to say her last name. I want to say it's Galligan. Here's a picture where you can see her. I think you guys mainly know Danielle from being in the Shadow Bone Netflix series. She plays Nina. Not only is she just a perfect actress and absolutely stunning, she's also a reader and a published poet. How can someone be this perfect? Like, what? It's insane. I'll link the interview down below, the article, and in one of the questions they asked her, 3 books you take to a desert island and why? And she ended up answering this. So she said she would take On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong, The World's Wife by Carol Ann Duffy, and Cersei by Madeline Miller. So in today's video, we're going to be reading all 3 of those. I'll go more into detail as to why she chose them when we get to the specific books. So the first book we're going to be reading is literally the first book that she mentions, and that is On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous. She said this book is devastatingly beautiful and bursting with originality. I kept having to put the book down and stare at the wall, just processing some of his metaphors and analogies. So let me quickly read you a description of the book so we have an idea what it's about, and then we'll start reading. This is a letter from a son to a mother who cannot read. Written when the speaker, Little Dog, is in his late 20s, the letter unearths a family history that began before he was born. It tells of Vietnam, of the lasting impact of war, and of his family's struggle to forge a new future. And it serves as a doorway into parts of Little Dog's life his mother has never known. Episodes of bewilderment, fear, and passion, all the while moving closer to an unforgettable revelation. So yeah, let's do this. On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous, and oh my god, that was something. First, say hi to my puppy. Hello. Aren't you the cutest little baby? Oh, I love you. Anyway, so back to the scheduled programming. It was really interesting because even though I had nothing in common with the main character, I still felt so invested in the story, which is so interesting because usually you read books that you can sort of relate to so that you can, like, I don't know, just enjoy it more. But this was such a different story. So sad. Oh my god, this was heartbreaking. I think what really makes a difference in this book isn't necessarily the story, even though the story is beautiful. Don't get me wrong, the story is beautiful and very touching. What really makes this book so special is the writing. This author knows how to write and knows how to show emotion and feelings just by words, which is so beautiful and so fun to read because you can see that every single sentence of his had so much meaning behind it and so much impact. It was just such a beautiful book, and I definitely understand why it won so many prizes. It was really that good, and I'm still shocked at how much I enjoyed this. It felt like a memoir. I don't know if it's a memoir though, but it felt like you were reading a biography. So as you can tell, like, it was really well done and it felt raw and real. And I can definitely see what she meant by filled with originality and creativity. It's really unique. Like, I've never read anything like this book before. I don't exactly know if I want to give this like a full 5 stars, but I'll put my final rating on the screen. I'm sorry, I'm still a bit conflicted. I'll let you guys know what I choose by the stars on the screen, if that makes sense. So yeah, I had a lot of fun reading this first book, and I definitely recommend you pick it up if you're interested in it. So yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Today we're going to be reading the second book that she said she would take on a deserted island with her. And that book is World's Wife by Carol and Duffy. Now, I've never seen an author whose name is Carol, so excited for that. But let me just read you why you should pick this book. So she said, she's one of my favorite poets, and this is my favorite collection by her, which is exciting. The wives of the great, the good, the not so good, and the legendary are given a voice in Carol and Duff's sparkling and inventive collection, which sounds amazing. Let's just read it. I'm excited. Let's go. So I have finished reading the poetry collection, and one of my favorites was Medusa. This was on page 40 of my Kindle edition, and I'm gonna put it here so you guys can follow along. But this was so good, I have to read it. So it says, a suspicion, a doubt, a jealousy grew in my mind, which turned the hairs on my head to filthy snakes, as though my thoughts hissed and spat on my scalp. My bride's breath soured, stank in the gray bags of my lungs. I'm foul-mouthed now, foul-tongued, yellow-famed. There are bullet tears in my eyes. Are you terrified? Be terrified. It's you I love. Perfect man, Greek god, my own. But I know you'll go, betray me, stray from home. So better by far for me if you were stone. I glanced at a buzzing bee. A dull-gray pebble fell to the ground. I glanced at a singing bird, a handful of dusty gravel spattered down. I looked at a ginger cat, a house brick shattered a bowl of milk. I looked at a snuffling pig, a boulder rolled in a heap of shit. I stared in the mirror, love gone bad, showed me a gorgon. I stared at a dragon, fire spewed from the mouth of a mountain. And here you come with a shield for a heart and sword for a tongue. And your girls. Wasn't I beautiful? Wasn't I fragrant and young? Look at me now. Isn't that amazing? I loved it so much. Oh my god. And for this collection, I'm gonna give this book 5 stars because it was so unique and it talked about feminism and powerful women in such an interesting and different way. Now, I want to do something very interesting, and I want to read to you guys a couple of Danielle Galligan's poems. I've read some of these, and I can definitely see how she's inspired by her favorite poet. They have the same structure and flow, but what I can say is from Danielle Galligan's is that her poems are a little less out there. I'll link her poems down below if you guys are interested in checking her out. And these are a couple of hers. I'm just gonna read the shortest one so you guys can have an idea. So this is Pit by her, and you can follow along here. He said cherries were his favorite food. Wild or sweet or sour, he craved these fleshy drupes, with that single groove to run his fingers through. Gone in one, and when he was done, he spit out the stone and tie up the stalk with his tongue. Wonder where the next cherry is coming from. I never had a cherry, he'd had many. He could see the ruby in me, in my lips, in my cheeks, down his chin, and his teeth. Ever been a cherry? Plucked, sucked, bit, and turned to pit. So her poetry is very beautiful. I really enjoy it, but you can definitely see some inspiration, and that's really cool. I'm glad she recommended that book so we can see where the passion to write poetry came from. So that's really fun. I absolutely love her poetry. There are a couple more she published, so make sure to check that link out if you're interested. I really enjoyed this one, and I had a great time with this book. It was so fun and so different, so that was exciting. And then tomorrow we'll be reading the last book, which is the one I want to say I'm least excited for. We'll see how it goes. So I'll see y'all tomorrow. Hey guys, I'm back. The last book we're going to be reading is Cersei by Madeline Miller. Let me just read why she chose this one. She said, and Cersei by Madeline Miller. I'm obsessed with Greek mythology, and I just like the vibe of reclaiming this female character and reframing her experience. Also, she's exiled on a desert island and really makes the most of it, so it could have some tips. So this book follows Cersei, a strange child. She discovers she possesses some powers, some witch powers. Her dad is kind of threatened by her powers, so he sends her to a deserted island. And it says here, but there is danger too for a woman who stands alone, and Cersei unwittingly draws the wrath of both the men and gods, ultimately finding herself pitted against one of the most terrifying and vengeful of the Olympians. To protect what she holds dear, Cersei must summon all her strength and choose, once and for all, whether she belongs with the gods she is born from or the mortals she has come to love. So that sounds interesting. Don't get me wrong, I'm not the biggest fan of Greek mythology. It's a little bit too much for my pigeon brain. Let's get to it, shall we? Okay, let's read. Bye. Finished reading Cersei by Madeline Miller, and I have thoughts. Okay, I have thoughts. Hear me out. Before you hate on me, hear me out. So I started reading this book and I was really surprised by it because I was really enjoying it and it was going by really fast. And I was like, ooh, this is fun, this is exciting. I keep reading, this is fun. And then things went downhill for me. In the beginning I was really excited. I felt even a little bit more emotional, like I almost cried during one thing that happened to Cersei. I related to her, and then I just stopped caring, which was so weird. Like out of nowhere, I just stopped caring for these characters, and then things would happen and it'd be like, oh, okay, whatever. And I felt like it was rushed. Like the beginning was really strong, the middle was boring, and the ending was rushed. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about this one. The ending, I was like, who, what, why? Like that's how I felt. So I was really struggling to finish this. Like I said it before, I'm not the biggest fan of Greek mythology, so I kind of saw this coming. Like I can blame myself. I'm not blaming the book. I'm blaming this, you know? But it was not my favorite, and I didn't love it as much as people do. Like there were some beautiful quotes, don't get me wrong, but it felt a bit flat for me. And it was not the best book I've read out of all of these three. But it was forgettable, in my opinion. So, not my favorite. So let's just quickly go over Danielle's reading taste and what I think of it. She picked 3 books, and all 3 of these books were in different genres, which is so interesting. One thing they all had in common is a beautiful writing style. They talked about empowerment, and they talked about making sure that you live the life you want to live, and that you're not submissive to anyone, that you are not making choices because of other people, and that in the end, if you fight for what you want and what you want to have in your life, you'll have it and you have a great life. So I feel like she definitely wants to read books that talk about getting your life back and just making sure you're living the way you want to live. So that was really fun. Even though Cersei was not my favorite, the other ones were amazing for me, and I'm not regretting this at all. I had a great time with this video. It just makes me love her even more. She's amazing. I love her. I love her. I love her. Okay, let me stop fangirling. But yeah, this was the end of this video. I'm really glad she did this interview so that I could make another video in the Shadow Bone cast. Like, that's so fun. Let me know down below if you find any other interviews with other cast members, if you want me to read like them, or if you want me to read like anyone else. Let me know. I'm uploading a video like this every single week, so if you like this sort of videos, make sure to subscribe. Yeah. So if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below to be part of this wonderful family. I would love to have you here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!